like, you know why? You have the reverb in the chorus on. Oh, okay.
All right, are we set?
I believe we are. Okay.
Wonderful.
I was here.
And do I have a microphone you all can hear? Perfect. All right, well, welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania. It is a pleasure to be with you all, those of you who are on Zoom or YouTube, and those of you who are in person as well. We have the UU Church of Marblehead, Massachusetts joining us today on Zoom. So even though you who are here live can't see them, know that there's a whole extra church with us today. And folks out in the audience give you a good round of applause. Thank you, Marblehead, for joining us. A few notes and announcements just before we get started. If you're here on Zoom, you should have been muted when you came in. If you're not, go ahead and mute yourself. We'll leave microphones off until we get to coffee hour. If you're here in person, you know how to mute yourselves or not as you see fit. But do feel welcome to have water and coffee in our outdoor sanctuary. It helps the grass grow if you spill it. So feel free. There's sunscreen on the front table if you need that to keep yourselves safe and healthy while we worship. We'll be following CDC recommendations and updating our guidelines throughout the summer around masking and things like that. But masks should be worn completely over your mouth and nose. This is my little airline hostess speech. Anytime you're up and moving around, if you're gonna get closer than 6 feet to other people, if you need to go inside to use the restroom. Our kids under 12 are not able to be vaccinated yet, and they are an important part of our community. So for their safety and all of our well-being, we're gonna be protective and keep our masks on for the present. Our live religious exploration classes are happening on the lower lawn at this same time all summer. We invite kids to head that way at the beginning of time. And so just check in with Penny Vic if you need to do that. There are 3 bathrooms inside. We ask that just one person or bubble, so a family unit or folks who are significantly sharing their germs, be in each restroom at a time. So we're not concerned about people's gender, we are concerned about your germs. And now, I invite you to...
So they have to relog on. I'm glad Reverend Elizabeth made me a co-host. So as soon as they get back on, it will jump on back onto this. And just seeing, you can see in the top right corner, we're still live on YouTube. So please keep yourself muted until they re-log us in. That would be good. Thank you, people. There they go.
Roxanne, I don't know whether you sent something out to all the memberships about how to get on.
Rejoice and come in, enter, rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Open your ears to the song. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice.
Welcome. I'm Ruth Barkey, a member of the worship team today, and I'm glad to be here with you. On behalf of the entire congregation, thank you for being here in person, on Zoom, or via YouTube. It has been a year of the unexpected, yet our constant has been community. It is good to be once more. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. Please fill out a blue visitor sheet at the welcome table on the front lawn before you go. We'll make sure you are personally welcomed and added to our weekly newsletter mailing list. If you're joining online, send an email to office@firstuu-indianapa.org to join our newsletter mailing list. On Zoom, you'll see the chat button below the video screen and for joys and concerns during the service. The First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, PA is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. We are of self-governing congregations united in a web of mutuality that creates our denomination. We have no creed or doctrine, teaching that all individuals have the right and the responsibility to discern and follow their own spiritual paths. We come together to support and assist each other on our journeys and to build our beloved community together. I invite you to stay after the service to greet one another and rejoice in our mutual presence. We will open up the microphones on Zoom for coffee hour, and folks here in person. You will be welcome to come up and say hello at the side table to those joining us electronically. Special announcements this week. The worship team will meet after the service today. We look forward to planning for the summer and beyond. And do hope you will let us know if you have the capacity or desire to be a part of worship planning, setup, or tech hosting. Worship is a participatory experience, not a performance. We need you. The Pittsburgh cluster is hosting a workshop entitled 8th Principle Conversations, June 12th from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern. Delve more deeply into our national and local anti-racism work and learn about ways to align this congregation with what people of color have asked for in UU congregations to continue this congregation's legacy of racial justice work and welcoming. Email Reverend Elizabeth if you'd like to attend but cannot due to timing or registration fee. Our special congregational meeting will be on June 20th. Please check your newsletter for details. And before that meeting, our board will be working to nominate a search team for your approval. So if you haven't received a call yet, or you're waiting for a more convenient time, that time is now. Let us know and make sure your voice is included. Now I invite you to take a breath and settle yourself into a spirit of worship.
Come into this place, bringing all that you hold with you, though your heart be heavily burdened. Whether you be on the brink of tears, or if you burn with unquenchable rage, this community can hold you and your strongest emotions. Yes, even the messy ones are welcome here. Come in if you sing just a little bit too loud, if you hold still as statues and just breathe it in, if you sway to the music that moves your soul, you are welcome. Come in and say amen when the Spirit moves you. Tell that preacher to preach. Yes, that's right, tell us. Or close your eyes and quietly let your mind float free on the blessed words. Come into this place with every piece of yourself gathered up, and let us be the church incarnate. Let us bring forth the spirit of all that we love, by the words of our mouths, by the doing of our hands and our bodies, as we make sacred this time together.
And now, let us light our chalice flame. On Zoom, you may type "the flame is lit" in and say where you are joining us from in the chat bar. Our chalice lighting words will be in the chat bar. We light this chalice in honor of life's sacred dance of living and dying. May its flame remind us of those who have passed, to us fragments of holiness. May it remind us that we too are participants in the dance.
And so, will you now rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing hymn number 1024, When the Spirit Says Do? It'll be in your insert with the words or in the chat bar on your Zoom. The words are pretty simple, and this is a song to go ahead and sway and dance and be with in your bodies. When the
We now invite you to pass the sign of peace with one another, and especially to anyone you haven't met before or haven't seen recently. On Zoom, you may type a blessing in the chat box, something like peace be with you, namaste, shalom, salam alaikum, or bright blessings. Peace be with you.
And as we know well, we would just move right into a coffee hour style conversation at this point, if I let you. So we now welcome you back to this space and back into your seats. Today's UU moment is about circle worship. You see, I grew up Unitarian Universalist in a congregation in Denver, Colorado. I did what UU children do here, what UU children have been doing since Sophia Lyon Foz became a Unitarian children's religious educator and began shaping the Unitarian denomination's programming in 1937. So I would go with my family for the beginning of worship. And at the time for all ages, we would cluster in the front, hear a story, and then leave for the RE wing. On some occasions, I stayed in the main space. Sometimes there was whole church worship. Sometimes I just didn't feel like going to class. I'd face forward quietly while the minister spoke from the pulpit. You all may know what that looks like, what it feels like. I observed with deep attention, trying to understand what these sermons were about. And then I entered high school, and I joined the youth group. And suddenly people asked me if I wanted to help create worship. Suddenly, I was a participant, not just an observer. The style of worship that I became involved in first was something called circle worship. We do elements of participatory worship today that echo this style. Perhaps when we call the four directions together in a pagan worship, or when we have a mini pageant and people get parts, a play like Stone Soup, the audience becomes part of the worship performance. When we introduce an altar, as we do in our water and fire and flower ceremonies each year. Circle worship is so named not because we just place the chairs in a circle and do business as usual, but because the purpose of the worship style is to draw the circle wide, to connect people, to interact beyond a hierarchy, and make one another part of the responsible community growing in spirit together. It is a shared experience. I hope that in this worship, we feel some spark of that kind of interaction as we move and dance and sing. A bit later as we do a movement meditation together. For worship is a time for us to connect with the divine and with one another, to affirm what is sacred, to expand our understandings, to practice what it is to be human together, wholly ourselves. Today and throughout this month, our theme is play. So let us take today to play together, stretch together, and at this moment, to speak together the words of our 7 principles. You can find the UU principles in the front of your order of service or in our Zoom chat. Unitarian Universalists covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, and the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. Our centering words come from several sources.
Consciousness expresses itself through creation. The world we live in, this dance of the Creator. Dancers come and go in the twinkling of an eye, but the dance lives on. On many an occasion when I am dancing, I have felt touched by something sacred. In those moments, I felt my spirit soar and become one with everything that exists. Michael Jackson.
To be creative means to be in love with life. You can be creative only if you love life enough that you want to enhance its beauty. You want to bring a little more music to it, a little more poetry to it, a little more dance to it. Rajneesh.
Dance when you're broken open. Dance if you've torn the bandage off. Dance in the middle of the fighting. Dance in your blood. Dance when you're perfectly free. Rumi.
You've got to sing like you don't need the money. Love like you'll never be hurt. You've got to dance like nobody's watching. It's got to come from the heart if you want it to work. Susanna Clark and Richard Lee.
Let them praise God's name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto the Lord with the timbrel and harp. For the Lord taketh pleasure in God's people. God will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Psalm 149, 3-5.
Nobody cares if you can't dance well. Just get up and dance. Great dancers are great because of their passion. Martha Graham. And now I would like to take us on a little journey of a movement meditation. For those of you joining us in person, you'll be engaging with the people here. And for those of you on Zoom, go ahead and turn on your camera if you feel comfortable. just go ahead and look around you. Scroll through or look. Find one or a few people you can connect with using your eyes. Or if you'd rather, close your eyes and imagine people from the fellowship or friends who you know love and care for you in a way that makes you feel better, more yourself when you are with them. That's the feeling I want us to bring into this space. The feeling of being centered in ourselves, because we're with people who are going to care and love and laugh with us when the unexpected happens, or when we're imperfect and off balance and a little silly. First, let's take a few breaths together. So get your feet good and planted. If it feels good, you could stand. You can go ahead and bring your arms up and let your arms mirror your abdomen and your chest as you breathe in and out. Keep on breathing. Let yourself find new movements that help you expand and contract with your breath. If you'd like, you could bring your arms and let them stretch and sway, or put them on your thighs to help you sway your torso. Whatever feels good enough for now, safe enough to try. And look around. You might see other people doing a movement you'd like to do as well. You might see something that looks good, that looks like a stretch you'd like. Let this become a dance to the internal music of your breath. Let yourself flow back and forth with your breath and with those around you. Let yourself experiment. Maybe breathe in time with someone else who you can see. Maybe mirror someone and let yourselves get into a groove. You might put a little pop into what you're doing if it makes you both smile. You might see a movement that you want to try together. Let this be a dance we do in gathered community. The dance of being together. Whether it's silly or serious, gliding or bouncy, quick or slow, wholehearted or tentative, all are welcome in this dance. All must dance, for this dance is the movement rooted in the breath of life. And now let your body roll back into your seat and into stillness, or not. And thank you for taking this little journey with me. Let us now continue with our centering music. If you'd like to continue to sway with it, feel welcome. If you have joys or concerns to share, you might write them on a card or type them in the chat bar so that they can be included in our pastoral prayer.
Just wanted to mention that the music I'm playing is by an African-American composer named Florence Price, who is recently being rediscovered by orchestras and musicians in the US and around the world. This is called Silk Hat and Walking Cane, and it's from a set called Dances in the Cane Breaks.
as we come back from that beautiful music, we come to the time we set aside each Sunday to share together in community the joys and the sorrows of our lives. So let us join our hearts, our minds together in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and of love. We gather together to share the milestones of our living. For all that is being together with the sounds of the birds and of children, we give thanks. We are grateful for all that allows us to once again share time together. Today is the anniversary of D-Day, and I thank Charlotte for reminding us to thank all those servicemen and women, all those who served, and to remember those who were lost. Today is a day for hope. May we be hopeful. Today is a day to look around and notice what seats are vacant, not because people do not want to be with us, but because people are able to travel again now that vaccination is more possible. So let us give thanks for empty seats, which mean that people are reconnecting with family and friends, that people are still able to join us on Zoom even when they are far from us physically. Let us hold gratitude for the expanding possibilities of this new way of being a congregation together. And so for all the blessings of our lives, may we give thanks. For all that is hard, that is tender, that perhaps we are not yet ready to speak into this space. Let us hold space. Let us offer peace and comfort to those in need. And may our hearts be healed, and may we be filled with peace. Amen, and blessed be.
At the First UU Church of Indiana, we share the plate by giving a portion of every week's donations to an organization outside of the church. This is part of our congregation's mission to promote compassionate and responsible thought and action in the world by giving back to the community around us every week. So when you give this morning, know that you are making an impact not only for this congregation, but also in the wider community through our shared giving. This month, our Share the Plate recipient is the Western Pennsylvania Diaper Bank, a nonprofit organization dedicated to ensuring every baby in the United States can be clean, dry, and healthy. The Western Pennsylvania Diaper Bank is the only regional nonprofit organization focused solely on the distribution of diapers to families of low income or poverty level. In addition, they act as an informal clearinghouse, referring families to other organizations which focus on the many issues families in need may encounter. Every $25 in donations can diaper a baby for 1 full month. Please give as you are able to the work of this church within and beyond our walls as we share in singing our offertory hymn.
We give in gratitude and thank you for your gifts. In 1987, Susanna Clark and Richard Lee composed the country song Come From the Heart with the now classic lyrics. You've got to sing like you don't need the money, love like you'll never get hurt. You've got to dance like nobody's watching. It's gotta come from the heart if you want it to work. Since that time, those lyrics have been rewritten and reshaped again and again. They sounded like such a good idea that they've been attributed to everyone from Mark Twain to anonymous Buddha. You may have seen adaptations of this wisdom on postage samplers or pillows, perhaps journal covers, or on your local music station. Yes, we think. I do worry what people will think of me. I want to dance like nobody's watching, nobody's judging. When people look, it keeps me from doing all sorts of things that I would love. Perhaps even from becoming the kind of person I wish I could be. The idea there, somewhere in the back of our minds, is that everything might be easier if we were alone. Waldo Emerson, out in the stars, saying that was where men felt free. Or Henry running off into the woods, his works. Maybe, sometimes this is the case, that immense connection in the universe can only be felt when there is no one between ourselves and our freely understood sense of awe and joy and wonder. But I don't think that's all there is. It's not really how we do things in a covenanted community, this congregation. Here in faith, having people watching is not about judgment, but support. Our third principle to promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth is meant to shape us into a denomination made up of congregations where we don't pressure one another, but encourage and embolden one another to be more than we might be on our own. We are together for mutual support encouragement. As Margaret Fuller, contemporary and friend of Emerson and Thoreau, wrote, society is made for people. No institution can be good which does not tend to improve the individual. We become better in community with others. A good community is one that encourages and even sometimes demands our growth. That we come out of our shells and be more ourselves, even and especially because others are watching. We move into this month of Pride celebrations, with the knowledge that it is community that matters. For dance, for celebration, for support, for finding the good when times are hard. For Pride Month, as much as we talk about joy and rainbows, as much as we wave that rainbow flag, it's not just a flag of joy. This is a hard-won flag of battle. Because it was bought at a high price from the genocide of the Holocaust, which targeted gay and transgender activists across Europe, as well as people from unwanted racial and religious groups. And then when the Holocaust was over, the group that did not find liberation against transgender people. All the way to the 1980s, the AIDS crisis, tragic not simply because of the death toll itself, but because of the way our own government stalled on research and treatment for so long. Specifically, because the people who were dying were people seen as less worthy of effort and expense. This was and is a reality that we face today, that some people are seen as more worthy, more human, more worth than others. So Pride reason to dance, specifically because it's a where everyone can see you, to know that your humanity is a tool for justice, that your joy is resistance. Humanizing one another, looking into each other's eyes, knowing one another's emotions and well-being is key to our better existence. So we dance, we get funky, we let ourselves be free, because it matters, the process matters. Like children in a dance class, what's important is not that the dance is done and is perfect, but that you have a good time together in the process, that you stretch, that you get better by doing. And so, let us hold that process sacred, the dance of life, the joy of being together, the dance of congregational togetherness. It's like the meditation we just did. When one person begins to speak their truth, that we reflect back, that we notice what's being said, where they are stretching, that we get feedback, that we allow their movements to help to shape our community together. And that when you dance, you allow yourself to stretch, when you dance metaphorically, when you speak your truth, when you join, perhaps, a small group ministry or a committee. Let your movements be in time and in tune. Hear the music of everyone who is with you. And then, don't force, but stretch into being with one another. Our congregational life is and can be play, can be joyful, can be togetherness. Together, we are not just individuals, but a collective. Part of the glory of all that is and all that is possible. Madeline Lingle writes that all may know themselves as part of the dance of creation. Be butterfly and behemoth. Be galaxy and grasshopper. Be sparrow. For you matter. You are. Be. And Madeline Lingle named the individual. But we do not stop with the individual. This comes from Madeline Lingle's Of the Wrinkling, a wind in the door. In this, there are tiny creatures. She talks of them almost as mouse-like creatures or shrimp. They root. As they become adults, they turn into great tree-like structures whose tiny swaying dance is part of what makes the mitochondria in every person function. It's a wonderful sci-fi and fantasy genre because, as we all know, if we grew up in the 80s, mitochondria house the cell. And if you mitochondria that work, the whole human body begins to sicken and to die. So Lingle sets up this microcosm within a single human body that echoes our own existence on the planet. Her metaphor is that we are farandola. The farandola who have ceased to notice their responsibilities, who have chosen to dance so freely they refuse to reach, refuse to grow up. And when we choose not to root, when we choose to be so free that we take no notice of one another, like the farandola in Lingle's book, the community dance is lost. Joining the community dance and becoming part of the song of all existence, Lingle writes, is how we become more fully known, named, more fully ourselves. By rooting in community, by dancing in tune with a greater, by seeing ourselves in the love reflected in another's attentive gaze. The grown farandola know themselves to be more free than ever before, for they sing, as she says, for the glory of the living and the loving, for the flaming of creation. So thus known and thus named, may you, in this community, become part of the dance of all creation. Become part of the dance of life, offering creative choice to each and all. together. This is what leads us to joy and maturity and deep happiness. As part of the community of dancers, we find what is possible and seems beyond possible within our imagination until we find a way beyond today's barriers. So I hope that you'll dance like everyone is watching and sing together the songs of the Spirit. Amen. And blessed be.
Our closing words today are from A Wind in the Door by Madeline Daniel. I name you all that would be nothing. I name you each. I name you all. I name you beloved. I name you snow and knowing. I feel you with me. The butterfly and the demon. The galaxy and grasshopper.
Not so good, huh?
Hi, folks.
Hi.
Since we are, we've just been disconnected from the service. I'll send my apologies to Reverend Elizabeth, but why don't UUCM folks, I'll start the coffee hour in a minute or so, and then you can log on to that link. All righty?
Okay,
Would that be better? All right, thank you. Okay, feel free to log off. I will leave a message in the chat for Reverend Elizabeth, and then we can go.
So we should leave
Yes,
this and
just
come back on the other.
exit out and log on to the link from the email, okay? Or from the e-blast.
it also froze for First UU.
Yes,
I can't-
hi, First UU folks.
Yeah.
I'm Roxanne Campbell from UU Marblehead. We have been completely disconnected because it made me the host because their computer has cut off.
Okay,
So, I mean, if you'd like the link for our coffee hour, I will put it in, but, and you're welcome to join us, but then you can probably try again for the,
Thank you.
theirs if you would like, so.
yeah, I'm gonna try again. I have the beginnings of a migraine, but I'm supposed to be at the worship committee meeting.
Oh.
So,
Well, I hope you feel better. And just to let everybody know, even though they have cut off, the symbol is still up that we are still live on YouTube. So
okay.
it's recording all of this. So we may want to just exit off. All right.
Yeah. All right,
Thank you very much. Bye-bye all. Thank you for having us, even if there were tech problems.
You're welcome. Okay, let's try leave me.
All right. I'm going to leave the meeting as well. Oh, actually, before I do that, I will put in that message. All right. Okay, and Dottie, you can exit out if you would like.
Okay.
And then come join coffee hour in a minute. And Mr. Holland, you'll be the only one left in here if you stay. Okay.
I'm not sure where to log in to get to your coffee hour.
Oh, let me give you a link and you can come join us. We would love that. I have to copy it from my email. Okay. Oh goodness, let me just see. Okay. All right, copy link. All right, so what's going to happen? I'm putting it into the chat.
Okay, and I'll
If
copy it.
you click on it, what it's going to say is leave this meeting and join that one. So you should copy that and paste it in. It should work. And actually, let me also paste in the meeting and the passcode just in case. We'd love to have you join us. Okay, so this as well. So, okay. All right.
Let's go. UUCM. Okay. All right.
Okay, so
I'll
I'm
try
going to exit out. Okay, bye-bye.